So today what I want to do is give you some real life application of the things that we talk about on this channel all the time. And it's going to allow you to move up and down the neck and create some interesting sounds. And towards the end of the video, I'm going to put on a backing track and I'm going to show you how I would go about implementing these into a song or into a solo. And I'm going to upload this backing track to YouTube so that you can practice as well, playing around with these different ideas and moving up and down the neck. So let's dive in. All right, so we're going to do this in the key of E, and I'm going to assume that you know where your E chord is. And if we put our pinky down right on the 2nd fret of the G string, we get what's called an E sus. Now this is just a really pretty sounding chord, but we can move this around the neck and make it in different places. So this E is like our bar chord. So if we come up here to, say, the 5th fret, and we play our bar chord right here, we get an A chord. Now this is just that E shape with our finger laid across, and most of y'all already know this. This is actually the same chord as making an F chord though. So I'm going to play this in an F chord shape, and that just allows me to have my pinky free. And if I have my pinky free, I can put my pinky down right here on the G string, and I get that sus chord again, but this sus chord is movable up and down the neck. So this would be an A sus, I lift my pinky up, and it goes back to that normal A chord. So if I'm playing in the key of E, I can play an E chord, I can play an E sus by putting my pinky down. When the song goes to an A chord, I can come up here, play this A chord, I can put my pinky down and make an A sus. And if we move this chord up 2 frets, so up here to the 7th fret, now we get a B chord, put my pinky down again, and now we've got that B sus chord. So if you're playing in the key of E, the chords that are going to be in that song are generally E, A, and B. So as the chords change, you can change to these different positions and continue to make this sus chord. So that's a really nice, pretty way to get moving around the neck. And there's another way that I can actually make this same chord if I want to sort of stay down here in this area. So just like we can make a sus chord with an E chord shape, I can also make it with an A chord shape. So if I just lay my finger flat and make an A chord, if I can put my ring finger or your middle finger, your pinky, whatever's easiest for you, put it down right here, 1 fret above where you're making this A chord shape on the B string. This is also a sus chord. So because I was making an A, putting my finger down right there on the B string, that makes an A sus. And I can move this around as well. So if I take this A and I move it up 2 frets, now I get that B chord, and I can make that B sus chord as well. So this chord is movable, this A chord shape is movable just like the E chord shape is. Now another thing that's really easy to do, really easy to remember if you're in the key of E, is that you can play any of the notes on the 2nd and the 4th fret on the E, the A, and the D string. So on the E string, you can play 2 and 4, the A string, 2 and 4, and the D string, you can play 2 and 4. All of these are part of your major scale, and so if you're down here playing, you can throw these in there to sort of throw some lead licks in while you're playing around these open chord shapes, your E, your A, your B. Remember to throwing those susses in there as well. That sounds really pretty. So any of these notes will work. Now another thing that I really enjoy the sound of is sixths. And you can find these, there's patterns up and down on all of the strings, but I'm just going to show you 3 that I use all the time. And the way you find this, remember we're in the key of E, so I need to find my E note on the B string, and I know that's right here on the 5th fret. And then on the 6th fret of the D string, if I play those two together, and yes, I'm having to skip the G string when I'm doing this. If I play those together, this is an E6th. I can come up here to where I'm holding both of them on the 7th fret, and then both of them on the 9th fret. So this is just 3 easy 6th patterns to learn, and so this is something that I'm going to throw in my solo as well. And why I might want to walk this up is because it takes me up here to the 9th fret. Now on the 9th fret, if I lay my finger flat, remember when we were playing an A chord, we moved it 2 frets up and we made a B chord. On the 5th fret we get a C. On the next dot, on the 7th fret, we get a D chord. And if we move this up to the 9th fret, we get an E chord. So laying your finger flat on the 9th fret is an E chord. And remember, just like when we were playing our A chord shape anywhere else, we can hold this string, this fret down on the B string. This is also the same place that has that pentatonic scale that you probably already know. So this pattern right here is our major pentatonic pattern. And remember to, start or at least play around, kind of end on, you're just working around your E notes. Because if you're playing in the E major pentatonic, we're going to kind of want to work around those notes. So I've put those notes in red just so you know where your E notes are in this pattern. So you don't always have to start, don't always have to end on the E note, but it will sound better if you kind of work around the E note in this situation. Now, the interesting thing about any major pentatonic or any major scale, so in this case we're playing an E major pentatonic. If we move it 3 frets this way, we get the minor pentatonic. Or if we were playing a major scale, we move it 3 frets this way, we would get the minor scale. So in this case, we're playing the major pentatonic. If I move it 3 frets up, so now I'm on the 12th fret, now we get that minor pentatonic that gives us that blues or rock sound. And this works for any major or any minor pentatonic scale. If you know where any major scale is, move it 3 frets up, use that exact same pattern, and you get the minor pentatonic or the minor scale. Now, your E notes have changed, and remember, we're going to kind of want to be working around our root note. In this case, we're in the key of E. So again, I've put those E notes in red, just so we know where they are. So when you're playing licks, you're going to kind of want to work back to your root note, kind of working around that E note. So we can play our major pentatonic scale, we can slide up 3 frets and play around our minor pentatonic scale. And remember, we've got our 6ths, we've got all of our sus chords that we can play. And so I'm going to put on a backing track, and I'm going to upload this backing track so that y'all can practice along with it too. But these are the only things I'm going to be using in my solo. But it allows me to kind of play all around the neck and get all sorts of different sounds. So let's see what that might sound like. So don't think that you need all of this fancy stuff. Sometimes just some simple chords, adding a pinky here or there, kind of sliding it around, playing it in some different places, just playing this major pentatonic and this minor pentatonic, switching back and forth and kind of merging these things together can really create some interesting sounds. So I really do hope this helps. And as always, if you need something, reach out to me. I'll be glad to help you.